Alright, AP Physics, this is my quote-unquote science fair project for Mr. Maloney. I'm going to be showing you some of the atrocious physics involved in video games and how it's extremely inconsistent and how some laws apply to certain objects but they don't apply to all of them. And um, the first thing, or the main thing that I'm going to be dealing with, is gravity. And I'm going to show you how gravity doesn't apply to all items in video games, but does apply to people. So, what I'm going to do to show this is I've left this item on top of this house that is resting on top of these wooden planks. And basically what I'm going to do is take a huge cannon and blow the entire building off the side of the cliff. And from there, I'm going to come back to where the house used to be, and you'll be able to see it just kind of floating, hovering in midair, not caring at all that gravity would cause it to free fall. So, as you can see, for one instance, gravity won't affect certain items in video games, which has to do with the way the actual level is coded, but that's a completely different discussion. So here I am moving the cannon. I think if you look very closely, you can see the little sliver of orange. That's the item on top. You can see it right here. It's kind of hard to see because the video quality is really bad, but just to show you, there's no like handy dandy fancy editing techniques. This is something that actually happens when you play certain video games, because of lazy coding and the fact that it's not really important to have perfect physics involved in games. So they make you go through this whole long-winded ordeal of aiming the cannon because the anticipation's the most fun part, right? Right. So, cannon fired and you get some cool little effects, and you hear from the guy whose house you're going to blow off the side of the cliff, but it's okay because Dave was a jerk anyways. And boom. And now you can't really see the sliver of orange anymore, which you might not have been able to see earlier. But when you go back, you'll be able to see the item still hovering. So I think I'll transition to the next clip right about here. Yep, right. So coming up, running around the side, and then as you come up in the distance, you can see that's still just kind of floating there. I did attempt to jump up and grab it, but that just ended in a demonstration of me showing that gravity does apply to the characters still as I end up falling to my death. So I think I'll include that because it seemed pretty comical to me. I guess it does kind of display how certain aspects of forces are actually displayed in video games, though, because when you do a grenade jump, you're using the force of the grenade to propel you upward. But yep, gravity doesn't seem to want to work for the sniper rifle, but it has no problem dealing with me. But in the next clip, as you can see, even though when you jump off certain cliffs you die, if you jump off other cliffs you take absolutely no damage. So yeah, gravity not doing what it's supposed to. And then in the final clip, something absolutely ridiculous that I wanted to include because I guess it goes against, just watching it, it hurts me because it doesn't look like the kinematic stuff that we studied earlier this year, dealing with like arcs, and basically it's a small Easter egg that the developers put into the game, just kind of to be funny. But you have to shoot certain barrels in a certain order, and that's what the setup was at the beginning. And then you're treated to one of the characters' Actually, I won't spoil it. I'll just let you see for yourself how ridiculous this is. But yeah, final thoughts on this. Physics in video games, really wonky, not consistent. But I guess it doesn't really matter because nothing else in the game is very realistic, so it wouldn't make sense to complain about the physics not being realistic. Yep, here we go. Doesn't that just look realistic? The most fluid animation I've ever seen in my life. But to be completely honest, I don't know if that looked unrealistic because of the game or because my computer is just really bad, so that one might be on me. But yep, my science fair project about the physics in video games not always being correct.